Hey everyone, my name is Sydney Simone. Thank you for joining me for College Playground. I am your host, and tonight I am joined with Mason McIntosh, football player, former football player. We grew up together, went to middle school together in Gurnee, Illinois. So full circle moment here, but thank you so much for joining me.
No problem. And appreciate the introduction. Thanks for having me. Before we start, I just want to give you your flowers first. Watching you like pretty much my whole life, essentially. So as a kid to now, seeing you on TV, on their social media. I didn't realize that you had like 22K some followers on Instagram. So congratulations to a whole lot of success putting on for Warren Township High School, putting on for Foss Park Camp. You remember that? Just being successful with what you're doing. Like, it's great. Congratulations to you.
Thank you so much. And if I can recall, like, I don't really recall all the way, but we like played basketball. I remember playing basketball or something. I don't remember at what point or where that was, but
at Foss Park. That was at Foss Park, yeah.
That was okay. That's what. Okay, yeah. So I remember playing basketball at some point, but yeah. So we go way back, Lake County, Illinois. So, wow. I know we were just talking a moment ago. Where are you now? What are you doing before we get into your past, and why you're here?
Yeah, so I'm actually a third-year PhD student at Auburn University. Got my master's from Tennessee State University, HBCU, represent, in Nashville, Tennessee, and here I'm down in Auburn, Alabama, working on my PhD. It's been fun.
Wow. So what made you want to go the whole way and go to the PhD route? Was that something you always planned, or?
No. Yeah, so I feel like I've taken like everyone says this, if you meet people in grad school, they kind of always say this, but like, I feel like I've definitely taken a non-conventional route to grad school and working on my PhD now. I was a former athlete, right? So I started off playing football at Carthage College. It's a small school in Kenosha, Wisconsin. I played my freshman and sophomore year there. Had a knee injury actually, so I stopped playing. Then went down to now I was tired living in Wisconsin in the cold. Went down to visit. My dad actually had moved to Tennessee in 2016, and then so I went down to visit him for winter break, and like it was like 75 degrees on Christmas. I'm like, yeah, I'm tired of winter. And like, it was like a light flip went off. I was like, wait, you don't have to do winter. You know what I'm saying? Like, winter is optional. Yeah, I moved down to Tennessee. So like, I moved down to Tennessee. And then when I was trying to figure out what school I wanted to go to, and I knew I wanted to leave Carthage, I visited TSU, visited campus, and just HBCU just made sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, just that campus vibe was great. So it was incredible being on campus there. So I went to TSU. Since I was a former football player, like I kind of like tricked off my freshman and sophomore year because I'm like, my focus was football. So I got on TSU, was like for my junior, senior year. I'm like, look, I need to focus on school. I want to have something to set up for me when I graduate. I ain't want to be like a former athlete with like nothing to do. You know what I'm saying? They play sports the whole life, and then you graduate, you just got a degree, but nothing to show for it. You know what I'm saying? I knew it wasn't going to lead them like that, right? So I'm like, all right, so let me like get involved and figure stuff out. So at the time, I was really passionate in fitness and being a personal trainer, being that like I was exercise science major, and I just like working out, like training football. So I was like, all right, cool. So just going to get involved. I got an internship, and then that internship turned into a few things. Get into that later. I got an internship, led to a few things, and kind of like got me refocused back into school. Being that again, I knew I needed to focus. I knew I wanted to have something set up when I graduated, and then so essentially my department chair at TSU. When I was getting ready to graduate my senior year, my department chair at TSU was like, "Look, you got good grades. You got an internship. You represent the campus well. I want you as my graduate assistant. And if you don't know what a graduate assistant is, it's basically somebody who works for a department. And they kind of fund your degree at the same time, right? So I was like, well, I'll just be a personal trainer anyway. So like 2 years of master's won't hurt. So it's basically saying we want to get a master's degree, basically. I'm like, yeah, why not? And then so got a master's degree at TSU, doing essentially, like I said, like the master's thing, being a grad assistant for the department. And then I want to say, yeah, right when my second year started with my master's degree, I had actually my professor was like, hey, look, again, similar situation actually. He was like, look, you like research, you work hard, you got good grades, you should apply for a PhD program. I was like, really? For real, me? And He's like, yeah, go ahead and do it. I'm like, all right, whatever. And I took a GRE exam and I sent my applications and I got in. So here I am 3 years later.
Oh wow. So how close are you to being done?
I'm actually I should be a 4 year program, so fingers crossed, but 3.5 years, I mean 3 years. So yeah, hopefully less than a year and a half to go.
That's good. 'Cause, with PhDs, there's no real like standard cutoff time, like with undergrad or masters. My mom got a PhD, so
It's
just
program
like
to
my
program,
aunts
really.
and stuff too. So yeah, just knowing like kind of move at your own pace.
Exactly. Yes, program to program. Every program is different. I'm in a
Mhm.
4 year program, so that's how it really goes. At least from my experience, at least.
So wait, let me ask you: did you play at Carthage with well, not obviously not with her, but were you there when Kyla was there? Kyla Collins? Do you
I
remember?
did not know she went to Carthage actually.
Yeah, I think it was very brief as
Okay.
well.
I was there from 2015 to 2017, so fall 2015 to
Okay,
spring 2017. So if she was there during that timeline, yes, I
okay,
just didn't see this, but you
okay.
wouldn't. It was just like mad small, so I probably would have seen her had I known.
Yeah, I forget if it was on the front end or back or the back end, but I know she did at some point. Um,
Brendan, remember Brendan Duckett by chance? He went to Warren. If
the
not,
name
so
sounds familiar.
okay, well he went to Carthage. He was from Warren, but that's probably the only
Okay,
people I think went to Warren that you would have known.
okay. So what was the biggest difference for you in terms of Carthage and HBCU from your experience and point of view? Of course, like we said, Carthage is pretty small, and so are HBCUs are pretty small in comparison to like a PWI Big Ten type of school. Of course, that particular HBCU, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, is a little bit bigger than Carthage. But what was your experience like just attending the two?
So that's it's a multifaceted answer. So I'm gonna say like this: Carthage one is a small school, only 2,000 students. So Warren is bigger than
Okay.
Carthage, right?
Okay.
So,
Right. Right.
so yeah, Warren had 4,000 students. So Carthage is also in Wisconsin. You know what I'm saying? Carthage is in a suburban area. TSU is in the south. Tennessee State's in uh middle Tennessee. TSU's in the city. On top of that, TSU's in Nashville. You know what I'm saying? So those few things already. And TSU's 8,000 students. So it's more than double the size of
Right. Right.
right. Carthage, the only black kids pretty much they were there, played football or track or basketball. You know what I'm saying? Unless you was an athlete, you really had no reason to go to Carthage. TSU is obviously like I think 90-some% black, you know what I'm saying? So that right there is a shift in itself. But it was fun though. Like, so I felt accepted everywhere I went in a sense. Like my culture felt like it feel like leaving the locker room, I was like, okay, what am I doing here? You know what I'm saying? Which I know I went to Warren, which is kind of
Yeah, I was
similar.
gonna say for those of you who don't understand know it, the demographics of Warren is like the best way to put it is like any PWI I went to. Pretty much, oh, I hate to guess, but maybe 90% white and 10% other. I could be wrong. And other can mean black, Hispanic,
But I feel
Asian.
like, but I'll say this though, I feel like Warren at least had his pockets of black people. You know what I'm saying? Like
It
I have,
did, it
you know,
did for sure.
you know what I mean? Like I still like had black friends like outside the football team. On top of that, you know what I'm saying? Whereas Carthage, like if I'm not in a classroom, if I'm in a classroom, if I'm basically I'm not in a football locker room, I'm the only black person around. You know what I'm saying? So not having to deal with that was cool. And then just I feel like it was a true college experience. Forget like the whole HBC PWI thing, right? You like we had fraternities, which is sorority, which is obviously HBCU thing, but like football games is a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Like sports events is a big deal. So stuff like that is what made it really interesting and grateful I went there. Opportunities as well, like Carthage, I mean HBC, I mean TSU has some opportunities. I mean, one's in Nashville, so you got that going for you, right? So all the opportunities in the city itself. Um, you got the Tennessee Titans there, Vanderbilt's there. So like internships are at your disposal if you want to get involved. So it's not even much the HBCU thing, just a school to school different thing, really.
Now, I will say though, or I will ask you this: talk about for those who may not, understand the power and the connections and the structure and the support that you have at an HBCU as a Black student that you may not get per se going to another institution. Because I didn't have that experience. So, what do you think the power in that and resources that you have that kind of set you up for your future?
Absolutely. So I feel like being at an HBCU that didn't feel at TSU that didn't feel like Carthage. Like Carthage, I was pretty much an athlete, right? So outside the classroom, I feel like it wasn't really valued. Whereas TSU, I was just a student. You know what I mean? But it was I feel like the professors really supported you. My department chair really supported me. The chair of the human performance science department supported me. I didn't even know the department chair of the exercise science department at Carthage. You know what I'm saying? So stuff like that. Internships and connections. So like again, so because we're in Nashville, right? A company came down to Nashville, Tennessee, or came down Nashville, Tennessee to pretty much, it's called Boost, which they're not a business anymore, but it's not the point. They were training collegiate players for their NFL Pro Day or NFL Combine. They came down to TSU, said, "Hey, we need interns," and my department chair recommended me because he knew my face, knew my name, like stuff like that is what I feel like is something that is huge. Another thing is that like again, connections is huge. So I walked down to the strength and conditioning office at TSU and said, "Hey, look, I want an internship. This is my schedule. This is what I can do for you." And they said, "Hey, come back down tomorrow." And I had an internship like that. You know what I'm saying? So, and that internship led to, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at now today had it not been for the internship. You know what I'm saying? So things lead to other things, and then everyone's kind of plugged in, connected. Again, they support you. They're gonna put you in front of the right seats. They're gonna put you in front of the right people you need to see to get what you want out of your degree if you apply yourself.
Before we jump back to football, talk about the power a little bit more, and the power in internships and getting that experience before you get into the professional world, or before you move up in your higher education. I know for me, I did an internship, I did job shadowing, but for my career specifically, that was like needed. Of course, you can get in without it, but having that was a step up. But talk about the power in building the relationships in your internships and how it kind of propelled you forward.
So I want to frame this answer like this, right? Because I feel like it's kind of like an uncommon answer to say. So I feel
Okay.
I see a lot of people, they go to college, right? But I see a lot of people saying, "Yeah, my degree don't mean nothing," or so I'll see people even discouraging education. They'll say like, "Yeah, college is a scam." It very well could be a scam if you don't apply yourself. In my opinion, a degree ain't enough. You have to do something with that degree. You have to do something while you're getting that degree, right? So college is a great time. You don't know what you want to do, right? But it's a time to learn what you want to do. So you get this experience. People say like they get a college degree to go out to into the workforce, and they can't get jobs because they don't got experience. Well, I asked, "What were you doing when you were a junior or senior?" They're like, "Well, I was just going to class." I'm like, "You should be going to class and working on the side or doing some kind of internship." So internship is great. Yes, it's free work, free labor, so to speak, right? But that free labor is important because that gives you those skills to do whatever job it is you want to do. Hopefully, skills will translate to what you want to do. Also, it gives you again connections. I keep saying connections. It gives you connections and plugs you into the business or line of business you want to be in. So it may not may not lead to a job per se, but this person who you're working with or shadowing at this internship may move elsewhere. And when they're looking for somebody to hire, somebody to work with, they might just bring you along because you intern for them and you demonstrated that you can work. They seen your work ethic. You know what I'm saying? They seen you get up at 5 o'clock in the morning on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then go to class 8 a.m. next day. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I think power internship is. Just demonstrating you can work for free to really demonstrating your ability to work for free to put that on your resume and just really show that you're really about what you say. You're like you are passionate about the field of work you're in. You're not just trying to get there for a check.
Two things. One, you mentioned interning for free. We're in a different society, different world per se, different generation of kids. The work ethic is so different. Even when I look at the younger kids, like at my job and things like that, or just talking to like mentees and stuff, the times of working for free it seems like they're dwindling down, if not already over. And I do get it because, inflation, the price of things are different, just being able to afford a cost of living. But what are your thoughts on working for free? And then we'll get into my next question, but the whole interning for free, do you think students, kids, whomever, adults should be compensated in some way now, especially where we are, the time period we're living in?
I'll say this, so I can only speak to what I know. So if you have opportunity to get an internship where you're paid, I would recommend definitely taking it. You are blessed, and don't let the opportunity cease through your hands. But for most of us, in my case at least, that was not the opportunity ceased to me. You know what I mean? Like I was in a situation when I got my internship, they didn't need me. You know what I'm saying? They like these companies, the strength conditioning program at TSU didn't need me. You know what I mean? They're just,
Mm,
so
that's
why would they pay me, right? So who am
right,
I
right,
going as an unexperienced, stupid 20-year-old say, hey, I'll work for you guys, will pay me at the same time? Like,
right. Okay.
why should I pay you, right? You know what I'm saying? So my situation, I was needed, but I needed them. But I had to demonstrate and show that, look, yes, I'm inexperienced, but I'm willing to learn from you guys. You guys are doing what I want to do. You guys are going where I want to go. So I will give you my time and effort, and I'll make your job easier in compensation by you teaching me what it is you know. You know what I mean? So, and give me an opportunity to, in my case, be a strength coach, right, and coach other people. So like TSU, this is a small division. It's a small Division One, AA HBCU school, but it's still Division One athletes. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I had the opportunity to, for in my case, for free, coach Division One athletes in the weight room. You know what I mean? And that's in my experience, that's been experiences that have led me and carried me a long way. It gave me skills like speaking in front of people, for example, has been something to learn. Just working with different levels of athletes is something I gained from that experience, and it set me up for other experiences down the line. But I wouldn't have had those experiences because yes, I wasn't getting monetarily being paid, but I feel like I was still being paid, being that I was being paid experience that led me down the line. Now, eventually, right, you want to package that to where you can profit off of your skills. But until you develop your skill set, you develop your resume, your bag, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? That's something you gotta put together. So that's what I think. Just working for free to work on yourself and make yourself a marketable product down the line is where that value lies.
That's a definitely a good perspective, a unique perspective. Just talking about one, we didn't have the experience. They do not need you. You need them, and then the level of experience, the opportunities, and the connection that they provide you for free is sometimes unmatched. Also talking about that, you mentioned the athletes and everything. NIL deals, that wasn't really around even when you were in school. What are your thoughts about athletes now being compensated for their name, their image, their likeness, especially the D1 athletes, and just having money, in their pockets, especially at a young age, they're athletes, and then now we're seeing the money come with the fame. So what are your thoughts on this whole
Now,
NIL situation?
yeah, I'm on the opposite side of this. So I did say my last one, answer the last question, right? I said, look, you have the opportunity to be paid for internship, go ahead and take advantage of that, right? So I feel the same about NIL deals. You know what I mean? So these Division One players, they're the most popular people on the planet, if the most popular people in the country, if not the world, right? So I feel like they should be compensated for their efforts. You got millions of people watching them, and you got these old white men would say, old white men making billions of dollars off these people's backs. They have old men making, and women probably too. You have older people making, in universities, institutions, making billions of dollars off these kids' backs, and these kids are working, as an athlete, working tirelessly, day and night, still going to classes, sometimes hopefully, traveling over the weekends to go for their game, and they're getting their legs broke. You know what I'm saying? People are getting hurt, and especially with football, that has lifetime implications. So
Right.
if someone wants to compensate you, especially in the case of NIL, you're just being paid for likeness. You're just a popular person, not necessarily for being a great athlete, just being popular, just by
Right.
for being Sydney Simone, they're paying you. So I don't see why anybody would turn down being paid just because someone wants to pay you based off your name and because of the platform you have. So these kids now are developing their own platforms. I think it's great, and they're learning skills about how to manage money earlier because we see how that works out down the
Right.
road, right? So while you're still in a college environment, you have leadership to kind of mold you and tell you what to do with your money. Is great. So I think it's great for them.
Yeah, I definitely think, just thinking about my friends and the people I came up with as well, it's like, dang, if you missed it, the cutoff or the start time by 1 year, it's like, dang, that kind of sucks. Especially like I said, I went to Purdue, a Big Ten, which that platform is huge in itself. And just think about having the ability to make money, especially when you're a student. And like you said, you're an athlete, you're putting so much time into your school and traveling. You don't even have time to get a job to make money, and a lot of them have other stuff going on outside of school, so they need the money too, just not just because they're an athlete
Being a
doesn't
collegiate
mean.
athlete is a job in itself.
Right, so you don't really have time to do anything else. So let's talk about your career. your football career. How did you find your passion, your love for football? And let's start there.
Start there. Yeah. So my father actually introduced me to football. Um, Maybe my grandfather actually. I was told at birth, my grandfather handed me like a little football at birth, but my father was my earliest coach. I remember from flag football to tackle football. Once that I started playing flag football at 3 years old. I started playing tackle at 7, and it's just what I loved. My dad tells me a story of like my first year playing tackle football. I played running back. I was doing like some sort of jet sweep type deal, and I had got smoked and lit up. And I was like, all right, we're gonna see if he really likes this or not. And I popped back up and nothing happened. You know what I'm saying? So I just love the physicality, love the contact. I play other sports too, but football is my calling. I like hitting, I like being hit.
So when did you realize, okay, I'm starting to get good, I'm starting to take off, and I could probably go to the collegiate level? When did that happen for you?
Probably middle school, honestly. There's a game, I want to say my 8th grade year, I had like 4 touchdowns. I had 2 running touchdowns, I had a pick six, had a receiving touchdown. I was like, okay, I can do this. And then it was just fun. Like, so I was never the biggest or the fastest, but I didn't know I wasn't the biggest or the fastest. You know what I mean? So I was out there hitting people as if I was the biggest. I was out there running people as if I was the fastest. You know what I'm saying? So put a ball in my hand, I was good to go. So yeah, middle school is probably when I felt like, yeah, I can do this for a minute. And in my freshman year of high school, um, I thought I was too small to play running back, and like I changed running back, and then it was like just natural. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much what it came down to.
You thought you were so okay. It was a long time ago, so
Go
obviously
ahead.
I don't really remember. But I don't think you were that small, were you? Like
I was a little skinny kid. Yeah, I think
you
that's
were
what it's
skinny,
about.
but I feel like you still had a little bit of height on you. Because like
I was
running
it was
backs and wide receivers, they're not really too big
I
anyway.
wasn't the smallest person on the team, but I
Okay.
probably was not the biggest person on the team.
Okay.
Like, but I was never afraid of hitting the biggest person on the team. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
I'll say that I wasn't the smallest, but I was far from the biggest.
Okay.
I
Okay.
was,
So
I was a little skinny kid. Like, well, I want to see my freshman year. It's like, dang,
yeah, yeah.
like that.
So what what changed in football? What life-changing moment happened to where, you had to put down the cleats?
I'll say this. So I'm start this. So my sophomore year is actually my first year where I didn't get a starting position. I really didn't play a whole lot. And then my junior year, I kind of see it going the same route. And my senior year, actually, I'm transferring schools. I transferred from Warren Township High School to Grizzly North High School. And this is my senior year. I don't have any offers, nothing like that. And I was like, okay. It was like a eye-opening moment because again, I wasn't the biggest, never the fastest, and I think like sophomore, junior year kind of really weighed on me. It showed that like, okay, I'm not as talented as I thought it was. So I started working hard. I got a personal trainer off season. I started taking the gym more seriously and training because I realized that okay, look, these are my deficits. I have to get bigger, faster, stronger. But it was still like okay, um, just because I think I'm the best, like there's still a coach who determines whether or not you play or not, right? You know what I'm saying? So, I think I'm great. My opportunity is determined by somebody else, and I learned that in high school. And then got to college. I got to college, and then my freshman year, um, I got there, and again I was a freshman. And I was like, oh wow, there's 6 people ahead of me on depth chart. I'm a 7th string safety. I'm never going to play this season.
Mm.
And so, but ironically enough, though, I ended up working way up to the 3rd string safety. Actually, ended up playing special teams. So that was the time of optimism. And then my sophomore year, I came back, and first day of camp, I'm thinking, I'm backtrack. I'm sorry, I'm backtrack. Football in college, just spring ball. Spring ball happened. I had a good spring season actually. In the off season, I was moved from 3rd string safety to starting safety actually. So I'm thinking when the sophomore year starts, I'm going to be a starting safety going to camp as a sophomore. And again, I start off as a 7th string safety. And then first day at camp, the coaches moved me from safety to linebacker, unbeknownst to me. And I wasn't linebacker size. Actually, I'm saying nickel linebacker, but for those who don't know, it's basically an extension of a defensive back. You're playing less, but it's still a brand new position. I had to learn that new position. So that it's going to be another year of me learning an entire new position. I'm burying the depth chart again. Do I really go through this again? I'm like, no, I'm here to play football. I love the sport still. So I sucked it up. It's pretty much spent an entire year again relearning how to play another position at a college level, which is learning a playbook on the college level is not easy. So I learned a position. I Towards the end of the season, I feel like I'm finally getting things down. Last game of the season, I had a knee injury. It was a JV game, but not a varsity game. I tore my ACL I tore my lateral meniscus, sprained my MCL, and fractured my had a tibial plateau fracture.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I was like, you know what? All right. So that I'm like, look, this football thing is for me. I've been through a lot. I told you I transferred school in high school. Did what I did my freshman year, transfer, changed positions. I was like, do I want to go through a whole year of rehab, get back to playing again for my junior year? So probably miss my whole junior year, then senior year, who knows what's happening next, right? So like, you know what? Football probably ain't for me at this point. So let's kind of pivot to something else.
So how does it feel? I'm gonna ask you, obviously I'm talking to you, but like I hear this a lot with athletes, especially on college level, get their position changed. Like what's the conversation like? What's the reaction? Like it's just kind of you change here and that's it. Do they tell you why? Because like you said, you worked your way from seventh string safety to the first string and then they just switch you. So was there like, oh, we're gonna switch you because of X, Y, and Z, or just do it? Or like what does that and then how do you feel in that moment? You've grown to love this position, or you finally mastered or got on top of this position, only to kind of go, it's like going uphill, boom, now you're going back downhill. So what was the conversation like, and how did you feel about it?
Yeah, so it's not a conversation. The coaches tell you what to do. You know what I'm saying? This is my experience, maybe different for other athletes, but my experience, yeah, I showed up to camp, and coach was like, basically we're doing the conditioning test actually. They said safeties go over here. I'll go to the safeties. They're like linebackers over here, and like Mason, you're with the linebackers. I'm like, huh? He's like, yeah, you're a linebacker this season now. I was like, oh, all right. So that's pretty much how that went. And
Wow.
then at that moment, I'm like, okay, all right, this is going to be out. And like me, I was like a type person, hoodie up, head down, just work. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't question it. Like, all right, cool. This is what it's going to be. And then there, on top of that, I knew there's a person starting in front of me. So I was like, okay, it's going to be one of those seasons again, but it's something mentally you just got to deal with. You know what I mean? So it's definitely tougher than emotions though, but I was like, I'm only a sophomore. I'll figure it out. And then eventually maybe I've done in my experience, I'm like, I've done it before. I'll do it again. You know what I'm saying? So just trying to, as an athlete, you got to keep that positive mindset. You don't want to get dwelled. You want to harbor too much on it and worry
Mhm.
about what's not. You know what I mean? So like, look, this is reality of my situation. I'm going to make lemons out of lemonade. Here we go. So just challenging yourself too. So that's the mentality I had about it.
So did you get like bigger or stronger? Is that what made the decision? So was it like a promotion in this sense? Because like, did your
I'll say
size
this.
change?
Yeah, I'll say this. So I left this part actually. So spring season, I actually missed all of spring ball too. So I started the first day of spring ball, starting safety. I want to say it was like the second practice I had a hamstring injury. I pretty much missed all of spring season.
Okay.
And so when the person came in, I want to say the person that came in at safety behind me, in that time did pretty well. So as you know, with injuries, you
Mhm.
basically lose your swag and earn it back, right? You know what I'm saying? So I think the spring season when they kind of realized, okay, we want this person here. And then on top of that, from in the offseason, I actually gained like 15 pounds. So I started my freshman year as a 170-pound freshman. I want to say ended at 185 pounds. And
Okay.
so that was probably part of it as well. But again, by that point, they got their guys now. You know what I'm saying? Like they got
Right.
camaraderie at the position. So I missed all spring ball, obviously, with my hamstring.
Mhm.
And then so the offseason happened. I gained 50 pounds. Like, okay, cool. We're going to put Mason. And he likes, and I'll be honest with you too, I was much better at tackling than was at covering. So
Okay.
all right, Mason's a little heavier. We have a hole at this position. We'll just move Mason here. He likes to get physical anyway. So we'll
Okay.
just do that. So I feel like it's more a better team decision as well in their eyes. So that's kind of how that worked out. And at least I think, I don't know, I never asked, but
Right,
in
right.
hindsight, I could see how it made sense.
So how do you keep like you talked about being positive? How do you keep a positive mindset? It's easier said than done sometimes, or keep yourself from getting discouraged, or at some point like, your injuries will let you to hang it up the cleats. But as you're going through all these changes and learning new coaches, new teams, new positions, how do you continue to, where do you dig, or what place do you go to find that motivation and that drive to keep going and to not give up?
Honestly, just work. I mean, so my decision, quitting was never an option. My dad, actually influenced this by teaching me my brother how to play Madden as a kid. Like, look, you start something, you finish it, you don't quit. Like, I'm sure you play games as a kid, like you start losing, you get mad, you want to quit, you know what I'm saying? But my dad
Mhm.
was like put down on me, like, no, that's not how this works. You start the game, you finish it. I don't care what the score is. You start losing, you can come back when you never know. So I've always had that mindset of not being a quitter. So that's pretty much what I kind of held on to, just not being a quitter, suck it up, and then again, just embrace the work. You know what I'm saying? Like something I say to myself, embrace the suck. It's gonna suck, but if you work through it in a day, it might be something at the end of the tunnel. Hopefully you make it there.
So when you're trying to stay in that zone and not give up, what music, what songs, what artists, what's on your locker room tunes?
So I'm not in the locker room currently.
Or like
Um,
what was rather?
yeah. I could say so. When I was playing though, I'll say this. So I'll say what's in my headphones, what's in the locker room. The locker room, this is like me, keep in mind it's 2015,
Right,
2016.
right.
Young Pappy was playing a lot. Rest in peace, Young Pappy was a Chicago artist. Young Thug had just dropped. Barter Six, you remember that? I was playing a lot. Lil Durk was playing a lot, and obviously, the classics. So Lil Herb, Chief Keef, or
Mm-hmm.
G by me. Future, I just dropped DS2, Dirty Sprite 2. So a lot of stick talk, you know what I'm saying? But my headphones though, I was actually big on like Kendrick. I like Vince Staples, J Rock. The Game I just dropped.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember, what was it called? The NWA movie just came out. So I was listening to
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
NWA,
yeah, yeah.
and Dr. Dre did an album called Compton. So I was bumping that. And Isaiah Rashad, I think I said Kendrick already, Schoolboy Q. So
Mm-hmm.
the name a lot, I guess. But that's what's really going
Yeah, you had a pretty good playlist there. So before we wrap up, what advice would you give to somebody just overall, whether it be in the field or on the field, athletics in general, school? What advice would you give, or something that you maybe would have done differently?
I'll say this. So I'll say this as a grad student, as an athlete. Accept criticism. People ain't trying to always put you down. Criticism isn't always to tear you down as a person. It's really make you better, right? You know what I'm saying? But to get better, you got to improve what you're weak on. So when you're getting criticized, you're getting called out on your weaknesses. You know what I mean? So if a coach says, because coach speaks differently, so I'm sure you know. The coach says, "Hey, you suck at tackling." Like that, like don't like harbor, don't be down that. Like use that as okay, I need to get better at tackling. You know what I mean? So or like if the coach is telling you like you are slow, you know what I'm saying? They're telling you why you're not playing. It's because you're slow.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're weak, you're soft, you got to toughen up. You know what I'm saying? So alter your mindset to not be so defensive when you're getting coached up or criticized. And I apply that same mindset to academia. So like if I'm giving a presentation or if I'm writing a paper and I'm being critical, if I'm being critical on paper, it's like, no, this is the audience, this is who's reading my paper, this is the who I'm presenting to. If they're not understanding the information I'm trying to communicate, it's for a reason. So don't get defensive, take that back and make the changes necessary. So definitely accept and invite criticism.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Learning to take criticism, and then also my little 2 cents, don't ever take everything so personal, which kind
Right.
of is with learning how to take criticism. If you don't take it personal, then you can take the criticism. So
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
well, thank you so much for talking with me. It's been a long time since we've talked, and like I said, we went to school together growing up. But yeah, I wish you the best on your journey and finishing your PhD. Definitely doing some good stuff. And thank you so much for chopping it up with me on College Playground.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me once again. I'm gonna say this before I went for before we get off real quick.
Uh-huh.
I think being on the podcast is really funny and cool. My freshman year, actually, I used to listen to podcasts and before people knew what they was. And not believe it or not, like I remember some people walking in my room, my dorm, my
Mm-hmm.
freshman year. Mason, what you listen to? I'm like, it's a podcast. They like, man, you one of them old people. So I was really getting made fun of listening to podcasts. Now it's like one of the most
Really,
popular things of forms of media entertainment now. So
it is.
for the moment in that sense.
Podcasts can be a great thing, or depending on how you use it, it could hurt you. But yeah, definitely, we're in a time where everything is like kind of saturated, or it's good, but so many people doing it that is so much content out there. So you just got to be careful and filter through, and just be careful about what you take in, what you're listening to, and mindful. And if you use it for positive things, it could be positive. If you use it for negative
Distraction.
reasons, there's consequences to that too.
Definitely. Well, I'm still in my case, I'm still listening to the same podcast I listened to 8 years ago. So, but I
And which
appreciate you.
podcast is that, if you don't mind me asking?
Uh, hey, don't judge me, but I'm a Charlamagne the God fan. So,
Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So he's got a podcast called The Brilliant Idiots, actually. So,
Okay, yeah. One of the pioneers in podcasting for sure.
exactly. It came out like 2014 or something like
Mhm.
that. So I still listen to that to this day. And that's really the only like routine ones to for real is The Brilliant Idiots. So,
Yeah. Well,
what
thank
podcast?
you.
Podcast
Thank
you
you
listen?
for dropping that.
What podcast you listen to real quick?
Oh, right now, at one point I was listening to like the Unstable podcast. Um, like a couple of different podcasts, but the thing is now I think for me, I've drifted to YouTube. So a lot of people are doing like the YouTube shows. So I'll watch like Breakfast Club on YouTube. I'll watch Fox Soul's TGIF. There was Cocktails with Queens at one point. A couple other sports podcasts. But yeah, I mostly shifted mine to YouTube just because I like the visual, which is why I do both. I do a podcast platform or medium as well as a YouTube because I still like to listen and kind of get that reaction, that facial expression. So
Right,
yeah.
right. Well, I appreciate you once again. This is a great time to have me. I appreciate you interviewing and having me on here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for joining me.
So good luck to you and everything.
You too.